recording. Hide that away. I am operating only from one screen now, which is a bit of a bummer, but we'll keep it. Try and keep it simple. So I've got an email from the March the 7th, which is a continuation short, and whilst generally I wouldn't, this trend line here is not something I would trade from, and it's not coming off the 50 EMA. The start of a new downtrend. I prefer to let it come back to the 50. It's only not only the 50 fib, but the 50 EMA, which is in here. You've got it coming back to the 382, which is generally a bit weaker. What do you said here? Resistance, horizontal. Okay, it's come back and tested that level there. This to me doesn't. You're looking for sort of some sort of hidden divergence there. And yeah, if that's the cycle you're looking at, I suppose that stands to reason. It's not a strong setup, even though it says 9. Let me know if the background noise is getting too much too. But it's not a strong setup. Having said that, the trade looked like it's sitting at about 1-to-1 at the moment, and certainly hitting close to your target, if not already out. Now we're not exactly seeing divergence. This is convergence. Prices, the RSI is just following the price. If we see a similar low as this and RSI is higher, then you have divergence. But yeah, that's a reasonable sort of getaway. Also, this bar looks rather extended for me to trade on. As I said, it's not something I'd take, but it's worked in your favour. Okay, this came in on the 9th of March, so 10 days ago. I do apologise for taking so long to get back to you, but last week I was in courses, and this week I'm obviously up here. So what are we looking at? Trades for, this is you here, I think. Aussie Swiss below, moving over resistance, horizontal support. You want horizontal resistance. If there's support in the way, then that's a problem. Yeah. So what are we looking at here? This coming down here. Look, I know it's probably made a lower low. In fact, I don't think it did. I'm not exactly seeing. Yeah, look, it's not the ideal trade, and I'm saying that with hindsight, but to me this low didn't make a lower low, so this move here sort of this should have been a lower low than this, and it failed to do so. So what I see in that, this is not really a trade that you'd be looking at, because the first thing on your checklist is you're saying lower highs and lower lows, and the answer to that is no, and that's a must-have. So that's immediate, sort of throw it out the door. Your next one is Euro Aussie. That's the same. It's just upside down, isn't it? Euro Aussie. This. Yeah. Again, it's not something you'd look to take. It's not the ideal setup, and it's failed to make higher highs and higher lows. So that this previous uptrend is sort of is now broken, and we're just kind of tracking sideways. So again, it's not not one that you'd be closely following. And you got one more dollar CAD going along. No, again, with the dollar CAD, you're not making higher highs. This should have made a higher high here. And the CAD's just going sideways. Yeah. So first thing you look at in the cyclicity is, are we making higher highs? And you can't say that with the CAD. We're getting sort of stuck in here, this little wedge sort of formation. And no, at this point in time, this high should have beaten that high, so you would not be looking at taking the trade. So the first thing you need to see is that cyclicity, is it still happening? And if it's not, then walk away from it. EuroCAD, I prefer to short. Yeah. EuroCAD, I do prefer to short. Fuck, this seems to be a meeting of Muppets in the background. Picked a good time to do that. Yeah, I need to be seeing that divergence. You prefer to short. I need to see the divergence. In the course, we're told to short 5 pips below the day one. Yes, that's what the book says. And obviously the Chinese book is saying that. But I teach in the course that this is wrong. And we should be going in above the third day. So you don't know it's a ring high until this third bar is formed. And once that third bar is formed, then you go short underneath it. And obviously you don't know if it's a ring low until this bar is formed. This could be an engulfing bar. And you need to make sure that we're going in above here, waiting to see that the shift in sentiment. Yep. So coming in underneath this bar, and you wouldn't have got triggered in. You've gone in a little too early there. May have paid off for you, but that's when you're going against the trend, that's pretty risky. That's where we were looking at in here. Yeah. There was that divergence there. You try to go in under here, didn't happen. You might have gone in under there, but no, your risk reward then, you've got to consider that. Your risk reward, once you start seeing the sellers, your risk reward is now 200 pips versus 160 pips, so that's not flash either. So now we're still seeing divergence again across this top tier, and the divergence there, but we're not seeing the sellers. So you've got to have strong horizontals, and you've got to have the divergence, and you've got to wait to see that sentiment coming in. Okay, and it hadn't done that, and when it did do it, your risk reward was ruined. Okay. Brief analysis. The barley has gone smoothly. Yes, it has. Thanks, mate. This gentleman sent me this. Is something that he goes through on a daily basis, looking at the currencies, which what the monthly is up to, making notes. So he's well prepared in advance of the trades coming. So if there's something in a trend, he can be looking at the 4 hourly, or he's getting well prepared in advance on all the crosses. And you can see that so I like this kind of analysis. It's a part of doing my report gives me the same concept, is that I'm looking at it and I'm making for me a mental note. But because I do it daily, I can be prepared well in advance for things to happen. And you'll see in my report that I'm sitting there waiting for things like the Aussie to turn into a trade, and getting prepared in advance with all my analysis. So this is good. I like this kind of thinking and preparation. And, they say proper preparation prevents poor performance. You guys still there? I haven't lost you or anything? Yep, cool. Good. You're also quiet. Sometimes I wonder if I've lost internet connection. Okay, so this came in on Sunday the 16th of March, so just last week. Euro yen. And we all sort of were looking at this. There's quite a few orders I saw come in on this. Awaiting higher high and a higher low. You've done that cycle underneath, and now we've done a cycle above it. So now we're looking at this. Bullish price action, waiting a higher high, higher low. Yes. Horizontal support. Yep. One fib retracement. You've got your fib from there. That's good. Mate, that's perfect. Yeah, that's great analysis. And obviously what we didn't get was a buying yet. I think it may still come about. But we got that high, 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 low, but we didn't get an entry. So now we need to wait for more buying. It looks like it's a little weaker today, but that's good. You can easily talk more if that helps. Just the odd shout out every now and then is good. Okay, a question came in on Monday about front running on the pound. What's the pound? It's just little. Okay, so this is why front running a trade is pretty tricky. We're looking at it here on the daily, having bounced, and it is, as I said, can be difficult to get to success. The question was manage it on the daily. When it triggered, I was at the airport, but the next 4-hour bar was a high test. This one. And at that point, I was unsure how to manage it. So I hung in there and pulled the pin at the break even on Saturday morning. Okay. As I said, I did reply to you in the email, but I wanted to discuss this. You manage it on the daily, so your stop should be under here. When you're trading this, look, it's a good idea to get your order to break even when you can, if you can, and a high test bar would be one of those rules. But you're trying to front run the daily turning point, so you get this entry, and then you'll be going in again above this bar here, if it wasn't a high test bar, to look at that opportunity of getting that run forward. You have now another opportunity of on the 4-hour again. We're in a similar territory in terms of price, looking at that. But what we don't have in this case is divergence. But the question is how to manage it. I would manage it on the daily. You started on the 4-hour. You've got your stop under here. And then if you get the opportunity on a daily time frame to get another entry, your stop also would be under there. So you're managing it on the daily. Unfortunately, this one obviously failed to carry on, and you would have got taken out. And that's also why you don't risk the full 1% on the trade, or your full amount of risk on the trade, because it's a high risk entry strategy that you're attempting to do in front running that swing. You put it under this high test. You lost less. You should have walked away at break even. Yeah. On the daily time frame. We're not looking at this. This was a low test bar, so that was what we're looking at in terms of an opportunity. This is a lower high, lower low. almost a doji. I haven't calculated it, but it looks like it's closed in the middle, or close enough to. But it's certainly not being dominated by the buyers, so I wouldn't be looking at this on the shorter time frame at all. Okay, so now we're into emails from yesterday. Missed that one, done that one. Swiss yen long. Currently, essentially same trades. I've placed half the usual order size, I think. Yep. Euro is slightly better setup. I think they're pretty much equal. This one is obviously coming off the 20 EMA, but they've both got that trend line. They're both coming, a nice little pullback. This is on the second cycle, whereas the your euro yen is only on the first cycle. So, kind of even leaning towards the fact that the Swiss yen is probably a little stronger. But you've done all the correct analysis, that it was all there, and as we can see, you should be cancelling the trade because that didn't eventuate. There was no trade there. So if you front run a trade, you want a doji? No, I want buyer bullish. I want to see the sentiment turning. Just going. Someone's just asked a question online. On the pound, this, as we know, is a low test bar, and that was bullish when it's coming off that sort of horizontal support line of $1.66. Whereas this is, the sellers are more dominant than the buyers, and you're still in a sort of mini phase two or a phase two. And this front running or catching that early swing on a lower time frame is high risk, but you're wanting to sort of need to be seeing the buys there, and it's we haven't really seen that in the last day or so. You would have gotten your stop loss to break even on the 4-hour entry. Like, I wouldn't manage this on the 4-hour, this front running concept. But if you're trading it as a 4-hour, you're not trading the phase two on the 4-hour, okay? So I wouldn't be doing that. When you get it to break even is when the daily gives you an opportunity, such as something like this, to get you get that acceleration. You get you to move your stop to break even there, and that's what you'd be looking at on the daily. And you've got a trade on the 4-hour and a trade on the daily going for you in the right direction, but you're managing both trades on the daily time frame. As we wouldn't have to move it to the same day, you would be moving it. You're moving your stops on the same day, on the same time. 9 o'clock in the morning or whenever it is, 7 a.m. You'd be moving your stops at the same time. Okay. Swiss yen. I had a long order on this. Should I have cancelled the order when price broke? You should have cancelled it the next day. Worst case scenario, you could have cancelled it a little earlier in the day if you want, because it was clear that once it broke this low, it was clear that you weren't going to get an entry on this particular bar. So you could have cancelled it when it went through that low. You're certainly cancelling it now because we're seeing sellers here when we expect to see buyers. Yep. So just going back to Raj's, you've got everything there, but obviously we didn't get the entry. So RSI is 53. Everything was looking good for it, but and that's why I said in my email this morning, the trade is still there, but we just need to see the buyers. I would cancel both. Yeah, cancel both of them. Absolutely, the euro and the Swiss yen and the pound yen if you placed that one as well. Not that I did. Okay. This gentleman, you sent this to my K2A email. Okay. If you recognise this, you send it to my K2 email. Can you send it to the prop manager email, please? So you've got your fib in the right place, you've got the horizontal support, you've got your trend line. Yeah, mate, that's all looking good. So again, you need to cancel the order, please. Okay. Mate, you're always sending another 100 emails. Here we go. First one, what do we got here? Is the CAD Swiss trying to do a phase 2. We're getting the divergence. Not exactly full of buyers here, are we? That looks about half and half. But had it got up there, the buyers would be there. That's your target. Interesting. So your target would be up here somewhere. So if you mentioned in your email that the risk reward was too low, I think it's about 1.5 to there. You're looking at it at this point in time. Your target is 160 pips, and your stop was 100 pips, so it's about 1.5. So just inside. Obviously, you may have got triggered in actually. 26, 33. Yeah. If you went in 5 pips above that, you'd be in the trade, and you'd be sweating. Because if you went 13 pips under that, there's 44. Saved by 3 pips. You're seeing it cycling along the 20 EMA, and that's why your risk reward. Okay. Yeah, been a long time since it's been to the 50. Gonna have to get there soon. Mind you, after what that Pelosi or whatever his name is said last night. That's his name. I just don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Certainly didn't help the Canadian situation, so it may never get back to the 50 for a long time, a lot longer. Okay, so you didn't like that. You see it as cycle along the 20, so you decided to not go there. What's this? The pound yen. You've got 2 trend lines. I'm not sure what that dotted one is. Obviously this low of the outside one is stronger. I'm not sure what this dotted one is or why you got that there. Except for that low there, it doesn't seem to be holding anything else. And there's a channel there. We're certainly on the lower end of it. It looks pretty good on the weekly. So the daily, the problem I had with this on the daily is, okay, there seems to be a strong horizontal there, and if you're looking at the monthly, there's a 382. If you look at the monthly, you do that fib there. Bring it back to daily, and there's that support line, right? And yes, we had this little ring low off that support line, but you've broken this low. We had 1 cycle above it, 2 cycles above it. So we had a cycle underneath that broke this previous low. So okay, the uptrend is broken. We then get a cycle above it, and we go, okay, maybe we're re-engaging in a new uptrend. So we get a cycle there, and we should have sort of stopped here instead of broke this low. And whilst the UK fundamentals are pretty good, it has come a long way whilst the others have gone nowhere. So it's a bit of a catch-up for everybody else in the pound trend time. And so that's why I've got a concern about this one compared to the other 2 yen setups that we're looking at. Okay. Okay, comments, dotted line is the soft trend line, right? In and out in 1 bar. See, that does suck. That's all looking good. Okay, so you're seeing that trend line, expecting that, yes, it's a good weekly trend line, and you probably, end up being right, but I dare say it's back on that trend line right now, wouldn't it? Where'd you have that trend line from? That was your weekly, wasn't it? So back on that trend line. There you go. Now if you're seeing buyers, if that's your cycles, even if that's your cyclicity, are we getting higher highs and higher lows? Yeah. Not really. Each time it's come back to this trend line, it's made a higher high. So this one didn't. Maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe it will. That's, yeah. Polos, yeah. Yeah, Polos. Oh, you got it. CAD yen, you got in and out on the same bar. Ouch. We'll get to the CAD yen. Okay. Yeah, so this one, there's potential there. I don't see it as strong as the Euro yen and Swiss yen, and therefore if I'm going to take a yen trade, I prefer to take one of those. Nice support on the 618 from that move though. Not ideal. I prefer to let it start trending and then jump in on the lower time frame rather than sort of trying to play with it. Okay, that's that one. Euro yen. Yep. All good. Also on a trend line. Swiss yen daily. Middle of the trend. As I said, the Swiss yen and Euro yen I think will eventually come good, but pound Swiss, okay. Pound Swiss, yeah. We got here strongish, strongish. All right. Phase one off the trend line, but I'm being conservative and trading like a phase two to a 50 EMA. Okay, we've broken your trend line. Right. So I would say it's not. I'd say it's more like a phase two. Pound Swiss. All right. Was there divergence there? There was a little bit of divergence. Then we make a higher low, but RSI's, yeah, it's not clear, is it? It's not clear divergence. Kind of was here, but you didn't get to the entries, so it's not ideal. I'll be leaving it alone now. Wouldn't be trading that anymore. Okay, I'll come back to that email. Euro yen long. Euro yen long. Above the 250 horizontal support, RSI convergence. Horizontal support, you've got that 140. I think it's more closer to 141 is that horizontal support. these highs here, this high here. Tracement support. $142 resistance. In divergence. I hope this is convergence because we're not really looking at the highs in an uptrend unless it's at the end of phase one and you're looking for that exhaustion. Right. This should be convergence. Okay. Otherwise, again, we need to be cancelling it. Nothing's there yet. And same. Hidden divergence. Yes. Nice. Also on this trend line. Yeah. All looking pretty good. Okay. Bullish chart pattern. Is this like the ascending triangle is your bullish chart pattern? Yeah, this is just your second touch. One, yeah. Okay, mate, your analysis is sound. I'll come back to your email this afternoon, but your analysis is sound. When we're talking about higher highs, we're looking at the current bars, the heights of the previous adjacent cycles. Yes. So we're looking at you want this bar here to be a higher high, but you also want the cyclicity to be higher highs, which is what you're getting in the euro yen. Excuse me. And what you're getting in the Swiss yen. Yeah, we're getting that cyclicity. You had that one cycle above it, and now you have the second cycle, so that's what you're wanting to be seeing. Hidden divergence there, the 50 tracement, yeah. It's all make your analysis is sound and strong. So I'll come back to the other part of your email later. The Euro Yen Fib, I'll be drawing my fib from here. So this was an uptrend, this broke that uptrend, we then get this cycle above it. So we draw the fib from there, which is the start of this phase one up. And you can see we're getting the 618 as support, or even the 786 if you so desire. But I'd say the 618 price is sort of holding above that, even though it has pushed underneath it, it's sort of holding above it. Swiss yen RSI. Oh, Swiss yen RSI. This is hidden divergence. I'm not sure if you've come along to the platinum courses. I'll have to check if you are platinum actually. That's hidden divergence. And you've got your fib going from there to there, which is good. I'm not sure why they extended that way, but yeah. That's all good. Okay. this is convergence. Yeah? So when the RSI is following price, as it is doing here, then we're getting convergence. If it's not, then it's divergent. And what you saw in the Swiss yen, from this low here to that low, we're getting lower RSI. That's bullish hidden divergence. CAD yen was range. Euro yen was phase 1. 2 questions. Okay. CAD yen was arranged. I think it was a range trade here. I then came back and tested that support level down here. That big support goes way back. Was there divergence here? Was there divergence there? No. Is there divergence here? Do we see the divergence of this move? No. Are you seeing divergence from this low to this low? Potentially, yes. And from this low to this low, there's even a slight hidden divergence from this to here and here. But I think the entry was in around here, and you'd be sitting waiting on the trade. You've waited sort of over 5 weeks for the trade to go anywhere, and it hasn't. So I'm not sure if there was an entry here. I did say it was bouncing, but that doesn't mean that there's an entry. Regard to possible volatility later this week with Janet talking on FOMC, if the US dollar moves dramatically, the CAD and the euro respond in opposite directions. It depends on which one of the pair is the terms. Can you please comment on positioning myself in the market like this ahead of news? They'll go in opposite directions, but what's the common theme there, the common denominator there is that the US dollar may move dramatically, but it'll move in the one direction. So it'll get weaker or it'll get stronger. And if it's getting stronger, then the Euro-US pair is falling and the US dollar CAD trade is going along. So that's just the common denominator is the US. So whichever one's if it's dollar CAD, dollar Swiss, dollar Sing, they're all US dollar is the primary currency, and therefore if it's weakening, then that pair will be falling. Conversely, if it's strong, it'll be rising. Whereas the other ones like Aussie US, Pound US, Euro US, Kiwi US, if US is weakening, then obviously that pair will be rallying. I hope that kind of makes sense. You took this trade, in early Feb and got stopped out at break even. You could not see the divergence there. Good. My reading of the chart is that once again I have all the must for a trade, but in your email today you said there is no trade. Yeah, there is no trade because there is no divergence. There's no divergence here, just like there was no divergence there. Okay, there was divergence here, but there's nothing available at this point in time. So you said you got in and out on the same trade. What have you said? Strong horizontal divergence, class B. Yeah, but with the momentum, mate, you want to see it coming out of this move. Yeah, you want to see the momentum coming out of this move. You want to see the divergence at the end of this selling pressure. Just as you're seeing it at the end of this selling pressure here, you're not seeing it until it gets right to this point, right at the bottom. Yeah, and then you're seeing it. Okay. It just flattens out as it comes across here, and then you get that little push lower, and then this low here, and we've got that divergence. Not from cycle to cycle, exactly. Reversal divergence is not from cycle to cycle. Reversal divergence is what you need to see if you're trading against the trend or against the range. You need to see that reversal divergence, and you're not seeing that at this point in time. Okay, Aussie CAD trade management. I got stopped out on the 12th after moving my stop below the reversal bar. Yep, that's how you should have done it. 12th of March. Aussie CAD got in here. The reversal bar was there. You should have been taken out underneath that. Worst case scenario, you would have moved your stop to break even after these two buy bars, and you got taken out. Obviously, it's run pretty hard overnight because of the CAD weakness. And your question is, why am I still in the trade? Because I was trading it on the smaller time frame. Okay. We can see there's entries in here, and we took the trade higher. Okay. On the 4 hour. Pound Aussie, looked at this morning. Pound Aussie weekly. Broke this resistance line, is now support. Look, I think the Aussie's got a bit of a, it's a bit excited at the moment. Let me get rid of some of these. We're seeing the Euro Yen, we're seeing the CAD Swiss. I've gone through all of those, that you should be all cancelling them now. I don't like this. Yeah, there's this support line here. If we see buying, it's not the ideal. I think it would probably be pretty wishful thinking, as you said. It hasn't broken this low, no. It hasn't broken that low, no. It hasn't made lower lows, that's true. But it's not making higher highs either. If it breaks this low, then yeah, you become a seller. But the fact that it's not making higher highs is a concern. So, it's just not something that I feel confident in taking, and prefer, like the pound yen, prefer to let it run or start a trend and jump in on it, and participate in the shorter time frames. But it's at this point in time, I'd rather look. It fits your rules. You've got it sitting there doing that. The strong horizontal. There's convergence. There's hidden divergence across here. These red ones. You got a very strong support line. And so if it fits your rules, then you can take the trade. It's not something I'd do, but I'm not going to stop you from doing it. But you've got it sitting there, fitting your rules. If it finishes a higher high or low, yeah. Even if it's today's bar is an inside bar, which will most likely be, and then tomorrow bar is a higher high, higher low, and you're seeing that buying sentiment come off there, yeah, you could argue the trade, and I'm not going to stop you. Aussie yen. Yeah, look, I just saw the Aussie yen. I looked at it and went, what? It's had a cycle underneath. It's had another cycle underneath. It's now had a cycle above. And if we look at this, cut the range crap out, and we just look at it at this point, you're making higher highs and you're making higher lows. Yeah. So there is a potential there. That's what I was looking at, yes, it is, we're in a range, the moving averages are all flat, they're all bunched up, but it's not going to sit like that forever. Which way it breaks is anybody's guess at this point, but you'd have to be looking at buying opportunities because it's getting that higher high, higher low. When you think it's at weekly, it's in a range, yes, the moving average is flat. And then you look at it on a daily, and we're above the higher highs, horizontal support. Got horizontal support, yeah. Bullish price action, 7. It all looks pretty reasonable, doesn't it? You've identified that little channel. When you consider there's a trend, it seems to score okay. Yeah, so when you're looking at it as a range, there's no score. When you're looking at it as a trend, it does pretty well, and that's a concern. Well, no, I think that's not a concern. It's an opportunity, and it's something that I think is worth looking at, and that's why I mentioned it. A high risk trade. Yeah, well, it's the resistance here is the risk. Yeah? So if you're getting risk reward, I don't think it's a high risk one. I think it's just the risk reward may not be there in terms of here's your resistance. If you're going to be risking 100, let's call it 180, you got maximum sort of about 180 there. So it's about 1-to-1. That's the concern for me. I don't think it was a concern of the trend. I think that's might break out of that previous range, so that's why I mentioned it. But yeah, you've done your analysis, that's good. You've argued the point and you come up with a trade recommendation, and that's the best we can sort of consider. So all good. Oh, shit, I need to hurry up, my battery's running out. No questions. David's questions. Volatility gauge. Oh, no, that's not for you guys. Right. What do we got here? Pound yen. Just wanted to ask you if this would be, if you waited to see a cycle and we re-enter this, leave this pound out of bounds for potential weeks. Yeah, look, if it comes to what we need to see is make a higher high here. Now, then you're looking at that as your first cycle. As I said, it hasn't made lower lows, but it's not making higher highs, so that's my concern. Double top, you could almost say triple top, and it might have to be left alone for weeks. Yeah, so that's no biggie. There's plenty of other opportunities around. So yeah. A few notes, just wondering if it's all valid. Not on the pound yen, also on the Kiwi yen, you made not. Okay, if you get the fair Kiwi yen, well, from there to there, you get the 50, retracement to the 50. Yep, it's fair. I just don't like the Kiwi. Yeah. Nothing against the people, it's just their currency. It's nothing of a dog to trade. People are lovely. I didn't see this as a strong setup here. You don't have a strong horizontal or a reasonable horizontal. You've got ACATs coming off the 50 fib, but that to me is not ideal. I saw this as we had divergence across here, and you're in phase 2, and I still think we probably are in phase 2. So that's why I wasn't going to touch it. And the Kiwi, I think, is whilst it's had this massive run, it was in crapland for a long time. Look at that. It's just headache to trade. And yeah, I'll be looking. We're in exhaustion. There's going to be no divergence, but you'll expect that to pull back. Will I be buying it then? Yeah, we'll see when the time comes. But it's not the best trade one to trade, I don't think. Aussie CAD trend. I've got a question. If the daily trend is established and all analysis has been done for the daily, if I want to enter on the 4-hour chart, do I have do analysis again on the 4-hour chart? Absolutely. As I know, yes, then it stopped me to enter on Friday on Aussie CAD because it's not a... okay. Aussie CAD wasn't a... We've got a trend here. What you're looking at is... What you're saying is that this high here wasn't a higher high. No, but you're looking at the daily to support the trade, but then you also need to just say, well, not necessarily the cyclicity on the shorter time frame, but you need to go, well, do I have Fibonacci support? Well, no, because it's the same one. I went in here because I'm seeing that buying sentiment starting to lift off the moving average, and that's what that's what you're looking for. And just getting that lift off the moving average. So we had this little ring low here, well, not so little, but I went in there and 2 times from risk and got it. So it's you do need to do your analysis on the shorter time frame, but it's the daily time frame is more important. Seeing that you're with the trend in the daily, and on the daily you've got this. This is where you're looking at in this area here for that run. There's this this pullback here on the this high test bar has failed to give you that higher high, but literally in the daily you're still in an uptrend. Yep. Okay, guys, that's it. Thank you for today. I'll see you tomorrow. I hope my battery lasts long enough to be able to load this up for you. Anyway, lots of cheer, and I'll get this loaded up as soon as possible. See you tomorrow.